Just a short time ago, the January 6th committee wrapped up a surprise hearing. Stunning testimony was heard from White House aide Cassidy Hutchinson this afternoon. And during the Trump administration, Hutchinson was an aide to White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. And during the committee's third hearing, we learned there was extreme pressure on Mike Pence to overturn the election. And the mob at the Capitol chanted to have him hanged. And during the insurrection, President Trump tweeted, quote, "Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and Constitution." Well, today, Hutchinson said that she felt disgusted by his remark.
It was unpatriotic. It was un-American. We were watching the Capitol building get defaced over a lie. And it was something that was really hard in that moment to digest, knowing what I had been hearing down the hall in the conversations that were happening, seeing that tweet come up and knowing what was happening on the Hill.
All right, our chief legal expert, Seema Iyer, joins us now.
Yeah, Seema, Brian said shocking. It was explosive, this testimony that we heard today. Now, Cassidy gave us definitely descriptive testimony as to that Trump and Mark Meadows were aware of the possibility of the violence on January 6th. And I have to be able to say, too, the shocking testimony of Trump lunging at his security service agent, trying to be able to get into the car at the steering wheel. But really, this gives us the frame of mind of Trump and places him there at the scene, and that he knew what was going on, correct?
And that he knew before January 6th. That is the most important part, at least in my mind, in my legal mind, because you want to set up that Trump knew not only of the possibility of violence, but the likelihood of violence. And today we heard so much evidence going all the way back until December 2020, when there was communications between Trump and his administration about the possibility of what would happen on January 6th, going forward to January 2nd, going forward from December 2020 to January 2nd, we heard this really powerful quote from that Ms. Hutchinson that you're looking at right now. She was having a conversation with her boss, Mark Meadows, and Mark Meadows said, "Cass, things may get real bad on January 6th. That is what she said just hours ago. And there was also that January 4th email that was shown to the committee today. Also more communications about the possibility of violence. And then let's go forward to the day of January 6th, as early as 8 o'clock in the morning. That's when the first reports came in that this crowd, there may have been weapons, there likelihood of violence, and then of course that 10 a.m. meeting in the White House between the White House counsel's office and Mark Meadows and the second in command, Tony Ornato. He was there. We talked about that again, this whole possibility of violence. Secret Service, they also came out at 11 a.m. and they had indicated this again possibility of violence, and all of this leading up to Donald Trump knowing and there were several witnesses besides Ms. Hutchinson that were there, knowing that the crowd had weapons and didn't want to go through the magnetometers because of those weapons, and that Trump said, "It's okay, they're my people, let them in."
He said, "I'm not the target."
A lot of people always say it's not the crime, it's the cover-up. And one of the things that Liz Cheney showed at the end of the hearings today was these texts and emails of veiled threats made to the witnesses' testimony coming in here. And a lot of people say that that's the witness tampering that could be the real thing that could be damning for Trump.
Well, I found it for you, Brian. Okay, so there is a specific code devoted to witness tampering, and what I was concerned with was, does this apply to congressional hearings? And it says specifically it applies to proceedings before Congress, and it goes on to talk about other administrative agencies, etc. So that's there. Also, really important, witness tampering, it doesn't not only just protect witnesses that testified, it protects potential witnesses. So if people are out there threatening possible witnesses, they could be in trouble too.
Okay, real quick, because we're short on time, but in terms of what we heard today, could Trump face charges, criminal charges.
I think he could face charges before today,
but
so
today
now it's even
specifically.
stronger. So, and we're going to talk about this a lot more in the coming days, so I'll just give you a little snapshot. But at least the research I have done, it leads me to believe he could be charged with obstruction of an official proceeding, conspiracy to defraud the United States, and again, conspiracy requires a few people. To defraud, I would say Trump and Eastman are the likely co-conspirators, and Rudy Giuliani.
Seditious conspiracy?
Seditious conspiracy is a separate one. That's going to be a little trickier because it's not only the conspiracy, but you have to prove force, whether you're overthrowing or interfering with the government action. And finally, guys, this is low-hanging fruit for the DOJ, wire fraud. Wire fraud is the charge that would be connected to misleading electors. We have so much more. I'll be back at 6. I'll be back for the following hearings. We need our own January 6th show.
Clearly,